Well, hello again, everybody. Guess what? Another Ryder Cup special, 2 in 2 weeks. Last week we had Todd Lewis from the Golf Channel, and today we got the golf guys, both of them. But let's hear from Jack first.
This is Jack Nicklaus. You're watching Touching Greatness with Ted Sobel, celebrating 50-plus years.
It's the least he could do. Hello, boys. How are you? Let's hear from
Great, Ted.
What's
How
up,
you
Larry?
doing, Ted?
Brady Riggs.
How you doing, Ted?
I'm doing
How you
good.
guys doing?
It's good to have you both, and let's get a little bit of a bio on both of you. Brady, we had you on a few. Everybody knows Brady Riggs, top 100. I put him in the top 5, but what the hell do I know? Golf teachers in the world, not just the United States. And he's with Yanni Zen now, and Daniel Kang, and every great player who ever lived looks up to him. What about you, Larry?
They've all fired me at one point or another.
A little known fact is Brady made his reputation teaching me, but we don't have to talk about that at length.
True.
But,
And
Ted, right there you go.
Yes, exactly. I wouldn't brag about that because you're down to the top 1 million if you add that. Larry Stein, he's the golf guy. Tell us about it.
So I have a podcast, Larry the Golf Guy. I've been played since I've been 9 years old. Played in college, then had a diversion for 35 years practicing law. Finished that up, and now I'm on the board of the SCGA, and love this great game.
That's great. And you talk about golf all the time, but you got into golf when?
When I was 9.
When you were 9, really? Okay, very interesting.
Yeah.
And Brady got into it when he came out of the womb. He actually he had a starter set, I think, when he was 12 days old, right, Brady?
You know what's funny? I started after Larry.
Did you really?
Did you really? Is that true?
I was almost 11 when I started. I was a pitcher.
Wow.
And a quarterback and all the other junk that I was never going to be, big enough for. So,
yes.
Golf was, I went to the range with my dad. He's like, let's go to the range with my brother and I.
Nice.
And I instantly loved it because the narcissistic, selfish athlete in me that wanted all the credit for everything. Golf was perfect, and I could practice by myself. So
that's
there you
great.
go.
I didn't start playing until I was in high school, and Brady can attest to that. That everything I did was sort of baseball related, and then just tried to swing the club and hope that the ball would move somewhere and nobody would throw it at me like a pitcher did. But I go back to, I just want a little background on me. 1974, guys. Does this logo look familiar to you?
Yeah, absolutely.
Very cool.
The Glenn Campbell LA Open, and a lot of people, and I forget a lot of people, almost everybody, even golf historians, do not know the importance of what Glenn Campbell did to our LA Open here. Because if it wasn't for him, we had some major issues. The Los Angeles City of Commerce was running it, and I don't know if it was all financial, but they weren't drawing. And until they put Glenn Campbell's name on this thing, guys, it changed a lot. Do you remember any of that at all? Here's the program from 74.
Well, you guys are older than I am. I was 6.
Okay, I expect you to know your history.
Well, I know the Glenn Campbell and the Sammy Davis Jr. Greater Hartford Open, and
there we go. That's my hometown. There
I know
you go.
Danny Thomas Memphis Classic.
Yep.
Bob Hope Desert Classic. San Diego, Andy Williams, San Diego.
That's correct, at La Costa.
All right, Bing Crosby, Clambake. I got a few of them in my.
You're good. You're good.
I feel,
but we know, right? The 74 LA Open was a very special one. Brady, do we remember why?
I don't.
You tell us.
Because we had 61-year-old Sam Snead, right?
Ooh.
Battling Dave Stockton.
I believe he was 63, but I could be wrong.
63. Well, he's born in 1912, so he's probably somewhere 62 maybe he was. I thought he was 61.
Okay.
I thought his birthday was later. But anyway, the more important thing is he's battling Dave Stockton, and incredible at that age. In the early 60s, that Sam was still competitive. But Stockton won. Coming down the 18th hole, remember Stockton hit it. I remember this. He hit it in the left side. This is, of course, back before the ball went 20,000 miles. Hit it up the left side on the 18th Riviera. I think he had a 3-wood or something. He had a hit from the side hill, and he just nipped Snead. It was a tremendous tournament.
There's slamming Sammy, and there's your winning check right there, 30 grand, baby.
Stockton. Right, exactly. 30 grand. Yeah.
I'm prepared
And by the
for you
way, if
guys.
you've ever heard Dave, if you ever talked to Dave Stockton about this, and I've heard him speak about this, he will tell you
Yeah.
how Sam would needle him and stuff coming down the pike. I mean, he has great stories about it. But that was a fantastic tournament.
There's
Very
Dave
cool.
taking a swing right there at the at Riviera.
Oh, you got all the
And,
pictures. There you go. Yeah.
Oh, I'm totally prepared for this. I wanted to get Brady's thoughts on
Ooh.
the swing of Glenn Campbell, because he was a pretty good player, and I'll talk in a minute that he was one of his teachers was Eddie Merrins at Bel Air.
I mean, that's a good looking finish, except for the pants. So I think overall, I give it a strong B plus. Yeah.
Okay, there. How about Sam and that crazy? What did they call that putting style?
Side saddle.
Okay, there you go. That was totally ridiculous, but whatever.
And unlike Vijay Singh this last weekend and Bernard Longer, he's not cheating.
I was trying to figure out how many seconds would elapse between mentioning Sam Snead and Brady saying that. That was good, Brady. It's quicker than I even thought you would be.
Here's the famous shot that they have.
Here it is, the
for.
3-wood. I was there. There you go, 3-wood, 244.
Amazing.
There you go.
What would they hit now? 5-iron from 244, Brady?
Tour average is probably 5-iron is right around 205 to 210. That's the average. But certain players clearly hit it.
4-iron, 5-iron. They wouldn't be hitting the wood, that's for sure.
Yeah, and of course it's Hogan's Alley, and there's Ben and Slam and Sammy doing their thing. And Glenn Campbell had one of the top shows on the planet, which Brady wouldn't know because he was whatever. He wasn't
too
around.
young.
Look at those. Look at the mutton. What are the mutton chops or something?
Yeah. The Glenn Campbell Good Time. It was a great show. It really. And Glenn Campbell, by the way, if you don't know, folks, if you're either not old enough or you really didn't pay attention, he's a top 5 guitarist of all time. And that is not an exact. He was unbelievable.
So I on that score, I will tell you a must watch is go on YouTube.
Yes.
Search for Glenn Campbell, William Tell Overture.
I've seen
watch him
phenomenal.
play that. It's phenomenal. That just totally proves your point. He's phenomenal.
As good as it gets. So Eddie Merrins at Bel Air was one of the key teachers for Glenn Campbell, and there's Eddie there with Arnold Palmer. We talked a little bit about the little pro from UCLA and his great days at Bel Air as well. Our last show. Now here's a little sequence. What do you think of this from Glenn Campbell, Brady?
He's a hooker.
Okay.
That club's coming from the inside. The release is great.
Okay.
And unlike this generation, most teaching back then was learning how to use your hands correctly, and he's doing a great job of that. He's doing a great job.
Good. And there's Eddie swinging.
There's a little pro. He's got the reverse C in effect.
Ah, that's right. Does that exist anymore?
No.
Is that a good thing for the back?
It's a good thing for the back. It's a good thing for the ankle and the left knee, especially because
the ankle too. Okay.
There's a lot of rolling on the outside of the foot there, so it's much better for everything physically. Plus, you'll hit it further because you can use the ground better.
There's Eddie and Artie.
And by the way, just to chime in again, what's ironic about that is they swung better before that generation.
Gotcha.
Way better.
Okay.
So Snead and Hogan both swung it beautifully, very much like today. You wouldn't change much with those guys at all.
And that's Sam at Riviera in 1974 taking a swing. And I know you love the is that a fairway wood? I'm guessing.
No, that's a driver.
That is a driver.
The size of a fairway wood now.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's about the size of a hybrid now. But yeah,
it's a good point.
So anyway, that was the first tournament I covered. And real quick, the first big tournament I covered was the next year, 1975, the Dinah Shore Colgate Winner's Circle at Rancho Mission Hills. Mirage.
Right.
I don't know, maybe they didn't call it Rancho Mirage then. It says Palm Springs, but
yeah, it wasn't big enough to be Rancho Mirage yet. It was
literally a mirage. And there I am with Amy Alcott, the first one to jump into Poppy's Pond.
Yeah.
Yep. And Amy was, we did the PGA Championship together at Riviera in 94 on the radio, and that was a lot of fun. And I don't know if you could see this, but the purse in 1975 for the women was unbelievably. It was like $150 to the last place.
32 grand for first place.
How's that? Is that great?
Everything's changed a wee bit.
You think?
Yeah.
I hope so. And there's Sandra Palmer, the winner of the 1975 Dinah Shore Open. That was the first one I covered. And then I saw her a couple of years ago, the last time they played the A&A or whatever they called it. I guess they called it the Chevron the last year in Rancho Mirage. And I brought, that's my my little promo thing that I had from 1974. And so she signed it and we had a few laughs over it. Anyway.
That's great.
I mean, Brady and I have talked about this. I think it's a shame they ever left all the history there to go to Texas.
It's all about money, baby.
It is.
You know what? Even Amy Alcott said it's good for the game. Tradition is great, but from the money standpoint, it's just good for the game. What are you going to do?
Yeah.
Well,
that's true.
There's that classic course in Frisco, Texas, that all the majors now will be at.
Yeah, right.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever. So there's Brady. He's a top 100 teacher, and we're moving on to the Ryder Cup at Bethpage Black. And I want to get both your guys' thoughts on the course itself. Have you ever had a chance to play it, walk it, see it in person? Because I have not.
Larry? I have not seen it in person.
And nor have
Brady,
I.
have you? Okay. I mean, Tillinghast design, a lot of long holes. I mean, what'll be interesting is, I'm used to seeing it in the U.S. Open, which they've had twice there. I think the fairways will probably be a little wider and the rough not as penal. But wonderful Tillinghast design that, talking to people who grew up in Long Island, it had gotten a little, out of shape. But when the USGA came in, David Fay was very big on trying to have U.S. Opens at some public courses. And they really shaped it up. And, it was a wonderful test in the 2 U.S. Opens, Tiger winning, of course, in 2002, beating Phil. And I think it'll be a good test.
And Brady, your thoughts?
Yeah, I think, our golf is very different here than it is in Europe, obviously. So it's in the air. I think in the past, there was a big advantage for American players playing the Ryder Cup in the United States, but I don't think there's a lot of guys that hit it higher and further than Rory. So he's pretty good. I'm more concerned about the venue from a behavior standpoint. I don't have a problem with the players being competitive. I think that was good for the Ryder Cup. I think that's what made it relevant again.
Right.
Seve was Seve, and people didn't particularly enjoy playing against him, not just because he won holes he shouldn't, but he also wasn't exactly the greatest sportsman necessarily in the moment. He was trying to win, and I think some of that was good. I think the War by the Shore, there were some good things going on there. When Lehman played against Seve, where was that, Larry?
God, I'm forgetting which one that was.
Oak Hill or something. I mean,
probably was Oak Hill. Yeah,
that was a battle, man. Those two guys were two bulldogs going after each other. I think that made it compelling to watch. I don't like when the fans get involved with it personally. I don't mind cheering for teams. I'm not a huge fan of cheering for bad shots, but it's going to happen occasionally. But in the climate we're in all ways, I think it's going to be a very difficult setting. I think Rory even acknowledged that this week, that at some point it's probably going to get to the European players because it's going to be super feisty.
Going to be a
players. The players should be doing that. I just don't. Golf's not that sport, and I don't dig it on that level. I think LIV is stupid for many, many reasons, and that's one of them. The music and the whole, the spectacle of it all. So I want it to be about the golf. I don't mind if they're competitive. I don't mind if people aren't giving putts. I don't mind if there's some sports, little kind of gamesmanship. I think that's cool. I don't like the idea of the fans participating on a level that isn't in the spirit of the game.
There's one hole a year, and that's in Phoenix, basically.
Right, it's number 16 at Phoenix, right, the par 3. Totally. But Brady, don't you? I mean, wouldn't you say I don't disagree with that, but the fans getting a little out of rooting for the bad shots and stuff like that. I mean, you see that on both sides of the pond, right? I mean, you've seen that in Ryder Cup over there, so I don't disagree with you, but I do think it'll be a zoo. I mean, I still remember right when Sergio was paired with Tiger in 2002. On all the waggles he would take back then, the New York fans counting,
right?
Each waggle and stuff. And, I can only imagine what it'll be like this time.
Yeah, I just think, we've gotten the ugly American comment so many times.
Yeah.
And, at Brookline, obviously,
Right.
the putt and the running on the green thing and whatever, I think that was all overblown, to be honest. I mean, they were pissy because they got their butts handed to them on a day they shouldn't have. And it was the greatest comeback I've ever seen in a team golf setting, for sure, right? It was incredible. And did a lot for the Ryder Cup.
For sure.
But so we're already painted in that by that brush. Some of it's freaking true.
Yeah.
I mean, no question about it. I mean, we don't necessarily, we're not the standard bearer of great behavior on the golf course, and certainly not with the fan base. I think it's in and of itself, it's a great competition that stands on its own. In this particular instance, the fans chirping and being involved in any way takes away or detracts from the play. So I just wish they would, but they're going to. It's going to happen. Sure.
Of course.
Yeah, they will.
Yeah. And there is such thing as home course advantage, of course. But my question is, how much does it really matter in the long haul? I'm wondering, Brady, you played in school. I'm sure you probably had about 12 people there instead of 12 million, right, watching you. But can you relate at all, like going against another team and feeling like we got the momentum because we're here or because of some factor instead of just playing the damn game?
Yeah, I think a lot of that's it's there. It's running through it a little bit. But ultimately, and I'm sure the players would say this too, in the moment, they're just playing and they're competing. That's what they're doing. And whether they're on home soil or not, whether the fans are rooting for them or against them, you don't execute, you lose. It's just the simple way the game is. And I think some guys thrive in the environment of being the enemy. As a player myself in other sports, I love playing against crowds or teams that didn't like me. I dug that. I think that was fantastic.
Sure.
My youngest daughter thrived on that too. I mean, nothing better than in a soccer match than right in front of their parents.
Exactly.
So some people flourish in that environment, and some people, don't. And I think that's okay in the Ryder Cup. I think that's a good thing. I think Sergio, while he has a great Ryder Cup record, is a whiner, and he always has been. And I think, as much as I cannot stand Patrick Reed, he's in this setting as a road on the road. That's not a bad guy. The
competitor in him is what you want.
Yes, I can acknowledge the fact that the dude's a baller under stress. I just don't like him, But I think there's players in our past, in our teams of the past, of the recent past, that were not Lanny Watkins. They were not Corey Pavin.
Right.
They were not those guys that you were like, man, chips are down. Ray Floyd. These are the guys who are going to step up and execute. They loved it. They were more in the school of, well, we're professionals, we're getting paid, and this is nice and everything. And then they got their butts beat year after year after year because they didn't rise to the occasion. And those teams with Poulter and Westwood and Olafable and all those guys where we had the better team on paper and continuously got spanked, that was all about enjoying the competition.
Yeah. Poulter was sort of the Patrick Reed for them, right?
Yes.
Yeah, he was. He totally was.
I mean, there were players that won matches you never heard of. Peter Baker and some of these dudes that were like in Ryder Cups, they were unbeatable, and then they couldn't make a cut in the European Tour, So it's an interesting space. It sort of flushes out the competitors more than any other golf setting, which I think is cool. Right. And that's why it's compelling to watch, I think.
Oh, I agree with that. And I also think, in particular, to go back to what you were asking Brady before, Ted, I mean, in terms of road victories, the Europeans have had a lot more road victories. I mean, let's divide this into, since continental Europe was added in 79, because that's really when the more relevant starting point for looking at this. I mean, my recollection, I think there's 4 times they've come over here and won, including some real spankings. I mean, at Oakland Hills in 04, that was the famous one, I think, when, then Tiger and Phil got paired together by Captain Hal Sutton, which was a disaster. But anyways, they've won 4 times. I think the only time the U.S. has won over there, I think you have to go back to 93. So, I mean, just to Brady's point about the competitive nature, I mean, they come over here and, Yeah, there's a home court advantage, but they seem to play better on the road than we do over there. That's for sure.
Yeah. Well, when you win 8 out of the last 9 as the home team, it's got to mean something because they don't always have the best team. For whatever reason, they get it done. I want to get your thoughts on the captains and how they fit this situation. As far as the European guy, Luke Donald, he's just a returning champ, right? And so is every guy except for one of the Højgaard twins. So, I mean, that's a nice advantage to have. So I don't give a damn what the odds are. These guys are saying, hey, beat us, baby. You didn't do it the last time, right?
Right. Exactly. I think, I mean, just generally speaking, I've never liked the way the U.S. has done the captaincies over the last 20, 30 years. Europe has sort of had much more continuity in captaincy. I mean, I could never understand why Azinger, who did such a great job with the pod system at Valhalla, wasn't asked back. It's almost like a participation trophy. We've got to make sure every PGA champ gets a chance to be the captain. I don't like that at all. Having said that, I mean, I think Keegan's, a good choice. I like him better than the last choice. I think he made a great decision not playing. I give him a lot of credit for that. So, but I mean, Europe generally, to your point, I mean, they are much more about continuity than we are. And I think it served them well.
And Larry is with Todd Lewis, who we had last week from the Golf Channel. He said, I'm very glad that Keegan does not play. And I can only tell you that Brady and I both said in the last show, we think he should play. And there's no reason not to play. Enjoy it. It's just not Arnold Palmer days anymore. You can do whatever the hell you want. And I think it'd be great for the game. Now, how do you think about it, Brady? Same?
Well, I mean, look, I think he made the decision not to play because of how he finished at the Tour Championship, in my opinion. He said he decided well before that. I'm sure he's taken him at his word. But from just watching how he finished that tournament out, that was not a great finish. Yeah. And had he finished stronger at that event, I don't know how he couldn't have taken himself. And to be honest, when I look at the U.S. team, as you're looking at right there in the picture, I mean, man, Keegan's the dude we were talking about a few minutes ago. He's the competitor in the group.
Exactly.
He is. That's true.
He's the guy,
That's why you want him on the team in whatever way that he at least plays some. That's the way I felt.
I'll tell you a quick story, and I think I've told both of you this anyway, but it was 2000, whatever it was, 5, 6, 7, something like that. And we were in Washington for the U.S. Pub Links, and I was with my boy, Ben Fox, who's a great guy.
I love this story.
And we go through the stroke play. We get to match play, whatever. And we draw a first-round match, and we're on the first tee, and this dude hits like a 50-yard hook, starts right, comes in the fairway, whatever, and Ben stripes it down the middle. I'm like, dude, you got this guy. Come on, man. You're so much better, And so I'm just play your game. We're going to take care of business here. And the whole day he's got all these weird mannerisms. He's walking in and out of shots, and he's doing this with his shirt. It was so weird. And I mean, we got smoked. It was like 4-3, maybe 5-4, and we're walking off. And I tell him I came in like that was a one-off. That guy's not that good. This is just a blip on the screen. You're a much better player. Just forget about this. Move on. Well, however many years later it was when the PGA Championship ended on TV, and I get a call from Mr. Fox who says, "Hey, great call about Keegan." I'm like, "Thanks, that was a winner on my part." But,
that dropped you to the bottom 10 million teachers.
Oops. But I think the thing about him that I liked about him even that day was underestimate him at your own peril.
Yeah, that's true.
The dude brings it. I love that about him. I mean, I look at this roster of some of the captain picks, including a dude named Cantlay and a couple other guys that haven't done it. They haven't done it, and I would rather have a guy like
you talk about more recently they haven't done it.
Yeah, they haven't stepped up in this setting and done that. I just think Keegan's a team dude. He cares. He's passionate about it. I mean, when he didn't win the U.S. Open, and Fitzpatrick won, I mean, it meant everything to him to be there in that setting, in that moment. And you could see how much he cared. And that's what you got to have in this setting. If you don't care, it'll show in your play because the other dudes care. There's a lot riding on it for them. And I just feel like Keegan, as a player, if he wasn't the captain, he would have been picked, in my opinion.
For sure. If he wasn't the captain,
if somebody else was the captain, I think he would have been picked.
For sure.
And I think that's something he should have taken into consideration. But he chose not to. Let's see what happens.
Yeah, one of the things we talked about in last week's show was the new $500,000 per player for the U.S. and Zippo in the Euro department for Team Europe. $300,000 of that goes to charity. $200,000 they call a stipend. Would you guys please define the word stipend for me when it comes to the Ryder Cup? Does that mean
what it is.
hamburgers, or what does it mean?
It means whatever you want, whatever you want. And right,
whatever you're in the mood that day.
Exactly. And as you guys know, right, when the pay stuff first reared its head, however many years ago with O'Mara, it ended up whatever it was, 200 or something. It was just all charity, I think. So now, it's not just 2 to 5, but now they have to line their pockets with it. I mean, it's disappointing to me. Disappointing, but not surprising.
Here's what I think. Okay. I think the PGA of America that makes a couple bucks off this event, and me being a PGA member, I would like to see maybe some of the proceeds from this, and maybe not all $200,000 going to the player. Here's an idea. Give it back to the members in the PGA of America that have a tough time paying their dues, that are in difficult places around the country.
Totally.
That seems like that would be better to grow the game. I don't know how anybody can sit here and justify giving these dudes $200,000 each. Clearly, they've made a few bucks playing golf, right?
Yeah.
How do you justify that and not putting it back into growing the game? I'm sorry.
It's gross. I agree with you.
Especially when you're talking the PGA of Americas, that's what they're there for.
Yes, that's what they're there for. It pisses me off, and it's not. Unfortunately, it doesn't differentiate the team from the country right now, and that the people with the most have the most, and the people with the least have the least. But I proudly wear my California.
What do you got on it? I can't see. What was that?
It's the bear of California.
Oh, the bear. Okay.
Yes, thank you.
Let's
hear
hear
that
from
Larry. Larry knows I'm always going to get it.
Let's hear from Captain Keegan about this subject that he talked about today and the money factor.
Came to me. They wanted to bring the Ryder Cup into the present day. The charity dollars hadn't changed since 1999, and they asked me to sort of shepherd their way into making it into 2025. I think for everyone it's a personal decision. A lot of guys aren't comfortable sharing what they're going to do with their money, but we're going to donate. And for us, the PGA of America, this happens after the Ryder Cup, so this is something that we'll worry about after. But ultimately, the PGA of America asked me to help out with this, and this is the best way we came up to do it.
Okay, so there was his answer. I mean, I don't know what he's going to say that's going to make everybody happy. It's called nothing. That's not going to be possible. So just overall, what do you do now? I mean, we look like, again, the greedy Americans, however you look at it, in my mind.
I agree.
Yes or no?
I agree.
What do you think, Larry?
No, we are. I mean, I totally agree. I mean, it's, look, I mean, the PGA of America is the largest membership sports organization in the world. It's got, something in the 20,000,
26,000 members.
There you go. You have the number better than I do. So, I mean, I just would echo what Brady said. I mean, how hard it is for so many, club pros across the country, that aren't at these elite clubs and stuff. I mean, and, the kind of, healthcare you can provide, insurance stuff, things. I mean, there's so many ways you could use that money that would be better used than giving it to these guys who are just, none of them are in poverty situations. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Well said.
Okay. Your thoughts on world number one, Scotty Scheffler, and how he fits. If you're the captain, how do you want him to make sure that you get the most out of that guy to whatever the hell it takes?
I mean, I think that's part of why Sam Burns is on the team, right? I mean, they're good buddies. I got to imagine they'll be paired together. Don't you think, Brady? I mean, they're kind of a natural pairing.
It's a natural pairing. I mean, if I'm the captain, I wrote him already down for 5 matches. So
yeah, right.
I'm not sitting that dude. There's no way on earth that guy sits. I'm sure on the European side, Rory's in the same boat.
Yeah.
And you can't all of a sudden get yourself to play better because it's a Ryder Cup, or whatever major, whatever club tournament you have coming up. You're going to play the way you're playing. His play has been ridiculous this year. And Rory had a great year too. No question about it. But I mean, they need Scheffler to go out and be Scheffler. And if he just goes out and plays, I don't care who his partner is, he's going to carry some of those teams, whether it's 4-ball or foursomes, he's going to carry them across the line. They need him to play well.
Yeah.
Really
and the intimidation factor of Scotty in a regular event every week, when he's in the mix, and when is he never in the mix, right? He's having an off week and he's still, he's only 4 back or something. I mean, it's nuts, right? So how does that come into play in a Ryder Cup? Don't you want him to go out there and be Ian Poulter? And that's not his personality, but from an intimidation standpoint.
Yeah, but this is a funny competition, right? I mean, look at Tiger's Ryder Cup record. Okay, I mean, is there anybody who's been more intimidating, in our lifetimes in golf? The sheer brilliance of his play, and the when you got them down, step on their neck. We can reference Stephen Ames, right, Brady, on that one. I mean, but 10-8 or whatever it was, but he just hasn't been great in the Ryder Cup. Scotty's had 2 of them, right? I mean, 21, he was spectacular. I mean, the whole team wasn't good 2 years ago, but I don't know. I don't know if you're 100% right. The day-to-day in a tournament and stuff like that, everyone looks over their shoulder at him. This is a whole different kettle of fish.
Yeah, it's true.
Know. Yeah, I think it's a good point. And Larry, Stephen Ames understands now. One of the greatest lines ever from Tiger. He understands now. I think. I love it. What's interesting is the reason why Scheffler's so dominant is because he's an all-day sucker.
Right.
It's 4 rounds. It's count them all. It's 72 holes, and you just know the dude will wear you out. He is going to wear you out. So in that setting, it's really tough to deal with him. Tiger was the same way. Tiger didn't shoot himself out of tournaments. Jack was the same way.
Yeah.
They just hung around. They won a lot of events because they hung around.
Yeah.
The Ryder Cup's a little different.
Exactly.
It's more now, it's a lot of now going on. So from that standpoint, it's not the same kettle of fish, but if he just plays his normal golf, I'm sure that would be good enough. But there are reasons why the Poulters of the world could get it done in an 18-hole match where they couldn't get it done in a 72-hole event. It was suited for them more. The emotion, the fire, all that stuff. They could get hot. They couldn't sustain it for 4 days on a difficult golf course, but 1-on-1 or 2-on-2, as it were, those guys can get it done. So I think, like to Larry's point, Tiger had to have teammates or partners in all those matches.
Yeah.
It didn't mean he played great and they didn't. It wasn't. He was probably a difficult guy to mesh with in a team kind of setting, like a partner setting for 18 holes. And I think Scheffler probably is a little easier to deal with that way.
I would agree with that. Yeah,
so I think he would be probably a little bit a safer bet. But I that's back to Keegan again. Like if it was a 1 day off, man, 1 round, I would keep him. I wouldn't want him over Scheffler, don't get me wrong. But I do think in that setting, he's a guy that I want on my side. Just like I would want Azinger and Ray Floyd and all those dudes, because
the killer attitude.
Exactly.
I want somebody stepping on some necks,
Exactly. So does Bryson DeChambeau sort of not fit in that department? We got a little war of words now between him and Rory, and I think it's great. I love it. I wish Rory would say, "Hey, screw you, buddy." I mean, I wish he would get even a little more heavy duty because there's the live factor and all that stuff, and Bryson's he could be arrogant as hell whenever he wants to be too.
I desperately want to answer this, but Larry, go first.
No, That's the most intriguing part of this Ryder Cup for me is Bryson. I mean, he's such an emotional guy. I could see him being just the critical element on the U.S. team with the fire he brings and stuff
Right,
like
the fire,
that.
exactly.
I mean, he's so fiery. I mean, can be a little off the deep end on some things, but
You think?
he's a very fiery guy. So I'm really intrigued. I'm looking forward to that part of this a lot, and I think he could be a huge benefit emotionally for the U.S. team. I know Brady's going to give you a different answer.
Well, I think when it comes to Bryson, Rory's like that because
Rory's like what?
he's like
just
this.
brushed him off. Yeah.
Oh, totally.
What was that? Oh, whatever.
Yeah.
I don't think it matters.
It was a
Rory.
fly.
Rory's won the Grand Slam, and Bryson's Bryson. And Bryson likes to talk about himself to get himself in the news.
Yeah, more hits on his sites.
Right. I don't know, Larry. I'm curious if you're right about him being an emotional. I just don't know if dudes like him on the team. Like, I'm just not sure the American team is digging him.
Well, I wanted to ask you about how you think he might fit in the room. And is that really important, or is it just a matter of, hey, just go out and play anyway?
I think there's some go out and play, but I do think that, I think Bryson, there's a go out and play for anybody, but Bryson's unique in that he's sort of a pain in the butt, like I just don't. He sued the members of the PGA Tour. He left willingly. He was complaining 2 weeks ago that he wasn't able to play in Napa. He showed up anyway. He's just a pain. I don't think the players appreciate that. Like you chose to leave. That was your job to go get the bag of money. Good for you. Sell your soul and do all you got to do. But then don't complain about not be able to play with the rest of your team, dude. I mean, honestly, and I just don't know how much respect there is there for him. I know, like Cantlay was not about all of that with him, and I don't like Cantlay much either. I just don't know that there's a lot of love there, So this rah crap that will fall on deaf ears for some of the team, I think, and I just don't think they're gonna want to play into that. I'm curious myself on how that's.
I'm curious. I just think this is the best setting for him in New York to have a Ryder Cup in New York, in the New York area for him. I think it'll be very interesting. I think I actually think the fans are really going to embrace his rah-rahness, but we'll see.
Well, I happen to be a Bryson DeChambeau fan for two reasons. One of them is definitely not live because it's a disgusting concept. And another one is not his attitude at times, but the fact that he got me into the Masters and didn't even know it. Because he was one of those guys. That's where we took this picture at Augusta, under the tree where they do all the interviews. He got me into the Masters because he was a first-time starter from my region in California.
Hey.
And that's how I got credentialed that year. So he's one of my favorite humans who ever lived, no matter all the other stupid stuff he does.
Fair enough.
Just thought I'd throw that in. But anyway, it's a reality.
That's great.
He's another guy, though, I think. He might be really good in a one-off setting. I think that he obviously dude, the guy's played great golf over the last few years in the majors, and he's established himself as a guy that anytime there's a big tournament and he's eligible to play because he didn't go to live, then he is a factor, no question. But I do think that in a one-round kind of vibe, he's not a bad guy to have because he is emotional, he is competitive.
Very.
I just think they're going to have to pick his partner wisely and make sure it's somebody that isn't already just bugged by him. Yeah. But if he gets in the right space, I think he can be difficult to deal with. I wish I would think most of the New York fans are savvy enough to know that he's full of it and this is just an act. But maybe it'll be something that will get them going.
Yeah. The other question is how does the course suit him? And I have no idea in that department. Any thoughts at all, you guys? He tries to overpower everything. Is that fit in this? I mean, all I know is don't play Bethpage Black. It's a disease monster.
I like we were saying, I think, it's not set up like the USGA set it up for the Opens. It's not going to be the deep rough. The fairways are wider. The first tee, I will bet you this, he will go for the green in the 4-ball on the first tee. because it's, they moved the tee up because of where the grandstand is. And so, that's conceivable. He could reach it and stuff. So I don't know. I think it'll be a good course for him. I do, because of the way it's set up.
Gee, do you think he'll go like this for the fans to make noise when he's hitting the drive?
You think?
That would be so shocking.
But you know what? That's not a bad thing, though, Brady. When you're talking,
I don't think it's a bad thing either. I mean, I'm not telling you I respect.
Great. I'm not. I'm just saying it's not original. So
Yeah,
I understand.
But I would say when you're talking about the course, the reason the USGA setup is good for them or good for Bryson is because I've used Torrey Pines as an interesting sort of analogy, in that Torrey, even during the regular event down there, the rough's brutal. And in the Open, it's even worse. Right. And the shorter hitters hate Torrey because if they're missing the same number of fairways as the longer hitters, the shorter hitters are missing the fairway on a long par 4, and they've got 2 1/4 in out of that hay, and they're not getting there. The longer hitters are missing the fairway from 175. That's a different universe coming out of that stuff with an 8-iron or a 9-iron versus a 4-iron,
Exactly.
So I would say, like, every year, a certain someone I was working with who hit it very far, he loved Torrey because he could just jack it anywhere down there. The fairways were tough to hit anyway because they're sloped and there's fairway bunkers, and it's not easy to hit the fairways at Torrey as it is. So if you're going to miss a fairway, bomb the heck out of it and miss it further down there so that you can hack it on the green, which is how I won his first Open.
I was just going to say that's exactly his strategy at Wingfoot. It's exactly what he did.
He just hit it so far. He had a wedge. The front of the greens were accessible. He'd bounce it onto the green, and it was, he dominated because of his power. I don't know that, like Larry said, I'm not sure how the setup is, but it seems likely that it won't be as difficult. But I think anytime you've got that sort of combination of heavy rough and length, a guy like Bryson has an advantage, unless he's playing a guy like Rory.
Yeah.
Because then there's no advantage, but it's going to be really interesting. I'm curious about that. And just the course setup alone should make it very, very.
Yeah. Unique. You brought up such a sore subject to me, though. A real quick story on Torrey Pines and the rough for the U.S. Open 2010 Media Day. I got invited to play, and I went down there, and it was fun until the first shot. And what's the old guy from the USGA who's not there anymore, who set up the courses for years?
Mike Davis.
Yeah, Mike Davis. Thank you. So Mike talks to all of the idiot media guys like me right before we go out, and he's saying, well, this is going to be like this. It's going to be like that. And he says, as far as the rough is concerned, I just want you guys to know, I sort of apologize because it's going to be worse for you than the actual event because we haven't cut it down yet. And guys, I would drop the ball like boom, just drop it. And I couldn't even see the damn thing. Okay. Yeah. But at the end of that round, it's the only time in my life I actually had to go home and take a long bath. My back was killing me, hacking that damn ball out of the rough all day. Never had that feeling in my life. Never since. But yes, Torrey Pines can be awful.
It can be
brutal. Yeah,
exactly.
For sure.
Okay, so what about the U.S. team being an underdog in your mind? Is that the way you see this? Forget the Vegas odds.
Are they? I actually haven't looked at the odds. Are they an underdog?
I think they're slight favorites, but you know what? I totally forgot to look. I can look while you guys are talking.
I think I would make them very, very slight favorites. I just think it's hard to win on the road, even though the Europeans have done much better than that than the U.S. has over there in the last 30 years. But it wouldn't surprise me at all if Europe won. I was just looking at the team, and you look at who's on the European team, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, you look at and it's funny because everyone likes to go to numbers, right? You go to the rankings, and the average ranking of the 12 U.S. players, world rankings is 11, and it's much higher. Even if you knock out the live stuff with the players, which screws those numbers up, it's much higher for Europe. But then I look at people. I see Aberg, I see Hovland, I see Hatton. I see these names that I think these guys are ballers. I mean, they're real competitors, and they've won all over the world. And technically, they're ranked worse in the world golf rating than a Harris English or a Russell Henley. I'll tell you right now who I would take, between those, and it's the European guys. So I wouldn't surprise me if Europe won. I'd make the U.S. a slight favorite, but I think it's going to be very close.
Okay, well, I just looked it up, and a couple of sites, same thing. USA minus 145 and Europe plus 165. Anybody have a guy I can call in the next few minutes just to put a few solid dollars on the visitors?
Well, I would also say
there's value. That's all I could say. Value.
There's a lot of value. There's a lot of value. I think top 5 guys in Europe. All right.
Yep.
That's so. As I look at them, I'd like top 5, bottom 5.
Okay.
All right. So top 5, Rory obviously is going to be number 1. I think Fleetwood's playing great golf right now. Clearly, just won Tour Championship. Justin Rose has been amazing, right? So there's 3 right off the top. I know Rahm is playing on some detour, as it were, but he's still in the top 5.
Isn't that the name of the other tour, the Detour Tour?
The Detour, yeah, the Detour.
I love that, the Detour. That's great.
Detour.
That is beautiful.
So
fantastic.
There's 4, okay?
Yeah.
And now you could pick, Shane Lowry, is Oberg, is it who is it? I think any one of those guys. McIntyre's had a really good year, but I think the top 5 there is really good, right?
Okay, yeah.
Okay, so and then let's go to the U.S. team. Let's go top 5. Clearly, Scheffler is there. I mean, you could make an argument for Xander, but he hasn't played great this year.
He hasn't played well this year.
So, JJ Spawn, I don't think so. Russell Henley, clearly DeChambeau is going to be in that group, right? So there's 2. Yeah. And then you start going down the list. Harris English, I wouldn't put him in my top 5. He's had a really good year, but Justin Thomas, maybe. I'd say probably maybe.
But he's hit and miss. You never know.
But Justin Thomas was really mediocre coming down the stretch.
Right.
I mean, at the BMW, he was in the 30s. I mean, at St. Jude, he didn't contend. He was pretty mediocre.
So Morikawa, he hasn't.
Morikawa is a perfect example of somebody. I don't know how he was ranked. He's ranked 8, but he has not had a good year. I mean,
and then you go the last 4: Ben Griffin, Cameron Young, Cantlay, and Sam Burns. I mean, find me 5. Find me 5 that can deal with Europe's 5. I can't find 5.
The only advantage is home course, baby.
I know, but I'm saying I really honestly think when you look at the top 5 players on each team, and those are the guys that are going to carry the day in terms of the number of matches played, because Europe doesn't mess around. They're not looking at, well, it's got to be fair and everybody gets a participation trophy if they all play a little. That's not about what Europe's about, winning this thing.
No.
Yeah.
And they're going to play their best players over and over and over and ride them. And we'll probably go to the typical, he hasn't had a chance yet. So I honestly think, just based on that, I would lean heavily on Europe winning this thing, along with all the other reasons. But I just think the top 5, it's a no contest right now. I think they're better than we are.
Yeah, and
I would say if this was a neutral site, I would totally agree with you. To me, the only reason I've given the nod slightly is because of the home court. Neutral side, I totally agree with you. They're a better team.
Yeah, but I'd make the U.S., if you want to go odds, with actual numbers, no more than minus 115 or 120 max.
Yeah.
Only because of the home course. That's it.
Only, right? Exactly. That's my view.
And do you think that is there a way to take advantage of that besides just play well? You know what I mean? Just to build an aura around what's going on there? Or is it just, hey, you got to produce or it doesn't mean a damn thing?
I think that's the way it is. I mean, I really do. I think the one thing, if you're down early, sometimes the home crowd can help keep you going. When you're on the road and you're not doing well, then maybe it's a little easier to pack in the round, pack in the match in that case.
Right.
I think there's some of that. But honestly, man, it's, a 20-footer is a 15% proposition on the PGA Tour. I don't care who's putting it, but who would you rather have putting it in one that counted? That's a big deal. I think that you look at that, whose tee shot, if they're coming down the last hole and they have to hit the drive in the fairway, we know there's a percentage of fairways hit and there's the dispersion, but some guys step up, man. They step up under intense pressure. And we know those histories because we've been around the game for so long, and we can all name guys that, like, if you had to have a guy hit a shot for you, we would probably have a collection of, in the United States, probably 5, 6, 7 guys that you would pick that could do it, or had to hole a putt for you that you had to make. And I just think that that's what matters. That's the intangible. You know, do you love the stress? Are you wishing you were nowhere else than have to make the 5-footer to have the match, right? I mean, that's what you're looking for. You want the guys that are just loving it. And I think Poulter loved it.
He did. He totally
it was his
did.
whole life, you know?
It was.
Exactly.
He
you know,
loved
it's
it more
funny
than
too,
anything.
because when I look at Team Europe, I got this picture here. I guess this was from Rome, like the last one, right? With Sevi. They're living off of him decades later and loving it. I mean, it's like it's part of their culture.
Absolutely.
Right.
Right?
Yes.
100%.
I'll give you an example. There's one guy I can think of who you never saw any emotion from in his entire career, but twice.
Okay.
2 times, a former number 1 player. Okay, I'll keep giving you some more hints. Former number 1 player in the world. Larry might have an idea, but I'll give you the big hint. He happened to shoot 59 in an event.
Oh yeah, Duval.
Yes, that was the one time.
Mr. Boredom.
Mr. Boredom, right? No, he shot 59, and we saw the.
Yeah, right. That was his off.
Yeah,
that was the only PGA Tour event I ever saw that from. But when he made that putt at Brookline, that was a different animal.
And now he's a cheerleader.
He was seriously competitive. That dude.
He
didn't show it outwardly, but who does Tiger say? Who does Tiger say was the one guy, right? He talks about Duval.
Absolutely.
You know, so you don't have to be demonstrative to be that dude. You know, you can be Bryson and be that guy, but you don't have to be that way. You can just be an absolute fighter and baller. And I think Duval was that guy.
Oh, you'd like to have a couple of them, though, of each, you know,
maybe.
I think one who's just got the heart and the other one who's actually more demonstrative for the room. That's the way I would, but that's who you choose too. You had the chance to pick whoever the hell you wanted.
Would you rather have Ray Floyd or Stuart Sink?
Well, I mean, the question answers itself. I mean, you know, so. Yeah.
I like that about this setting, because sometimes you see a reaction from people that you've never seen in a normal PGA Tour event. Like, they care more about this than they do, in my opinion. If we're going to win, they have to care about this more than a regular tour event.
Yeah,
absolutely.
But if you're Keegan, do you do anything different from a roster standpoint than he did besides himself? I mean, who else would you have picked that did make it? There might have been an extra really peppy guy for the room and on the course, whatever he's playing lately.
Who would you have picked, Brady? That's an interesting question.
That's a tough one, in my mind.
I don't know that there's an answer down there at the bottom of the list.
And I think he would have, if there was an answer, he would have gotten that guy.
He was
my opinion. Well, he was
Keegan's the most.
He was the one guy down there that was in the captain pick space that, to me, sort of brings that kind of fight and that kind of fire. Maybe Spieth too. Spieth, I could see being in that space.
Yeah, but he's not playing good enough.
I'm just saying,
but I agree with that. I mean, I would have loved to have seen them. You couldn't, the way he finished and not getting farther in the playoffs, but I would have put Spieth. If Spieth was anywhere in the mix, I would have picked him with JT.
But he wasn't
too far out. He wasn't. I know.
Right. So this might be the biggest mistake. Everybody's talking about, well, now he's off the no pressure for Keegan. He didn't choose himself. He didn't have to go there. In my mind, if they lose, it's like, Keegan, you should have picked yourself, because that would, I mean, if they get blown out, it's another story. But you know what I'm saying? That's the guy you wanted.
Especially if one of his captain's picks doesn't play well.
Yeah. Right. And the alternate or assistant captains, are you telling me they can't do their job while he's out on the course? Come on. I mean, give me a break. I just don't believe that. I think that's so overblown, it's not funny.
Yeah, I just, as I've said to you before, I mean, I just think the whole way that the PGA of America does the captaincy is ridiculous. I mean, it just goes through, we got to have this guy, this guy, this guy. I mean, if you haven't learned anything from Europe, the continuity, people who are, not even in the mix of playing. I mean, Keegan was one of the last people not to play on the last Ryder Cup team. Yes. I mean, he's still an active player. I mean, I think he's great. I think he's a great fiery guy. I think he'll be great as a captain, but I would be picking somebody who I think, like I would have had Azinger do it for years and years. I would pick something with continuity, so you wouldn't even have this debate. But you're right. I mean, if they lose, it'll be asked for sure.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's wrap this thing up with your choices, boys. You got to make a pick.
Well, I think if Brady, go ahead. I think I know where you're going, but go ahead.
Get back to me on that.
I'm going 15.5 to 12.5 Europe
For the Euros.
I think they're gonna work us over, and I think what's going to be interesting is I think it'll be pretty close going to singles, and I think they'll beat us handily in singles.
So that's interesting because the U.S. usually is pretty strong in singles.
Right.
Wow, that's interesting.
I just think that it's going to be close. We got a lot of guys there that are not closers and finishers in recent memory. And in the stress of singles on a Sunday at the Ryder Cup, with them having in their minds, because they're always the underdog one way or the other, whether they are or not, in their minds they're always the underdog with nothing to lose. And with their history in recent Ryder Cups, I just feel like we're going to be under a lot of pressure. And I just think we will not execute in the singles when we don't have the partner with us.
Boy, it's so disappointing to hear. I'm going to go 14.5, 13.5 for the U.S. I think it's going to be really close, but I think they'll pull it out.
Wow. Larry, do you have a flag or something or a Stars and Stripes hat going somewhere?
I think the New York crowd is going to be a huge asset. That's going to be the, whatever. Like the Seahawks have the 12th man. That's going to be the 12th man.
But before we get Ted's picks, I do want to ask how many sessions in before something really stupid happens and there's a controversy because of some poor behavior by somebody.
Oh, that's going to be right out of the box. That'll be day one.
First session.
For sure. I don't know if it's the morning or the afternoon, but
how about on the first tee? That would be great.
Yeah. I have
the
no
practice
doubt.
round.
I think that's going to be early and often on that category.
Fair enough. Ted?
Yeah, I just wanted to see Rory and Bryce go at it, just punch each other out. I think that would be fun. Whatever, make it an international thing. Come on, what the hell?
I'll take Sepp Straka or Shane Lowry for that job.
Oh, no doubt. Oh, Sepp is huge. I stood up next to that guy one day. He's like, "Are you serious?"
Yeah. Who are you picking, Ted?
Okay. Well, first of all, I'm holding up the cup for the U.S. right here. It's the real old picture. But I'm only holding it up because it's an old picture. I'm going to guess that I won't be arrested and that my freedom of speech is almost gone, but I'm going to pick the visitors.
Fair enough.
15. I'm going the exact same score as you are at 15.5 for Europe. What can I say? I just think they're too damn strong.
Wow.
They'll round us up together, Ted.
And I want to be wrong, everybody. I really do. But you just line them up. We just had 20 minutes talking about comparing rosters. It's real. It's not fake.
I agree with that. That's true.
So what are you going to do? I mean, just play, baby, right?
I would say this, too. My last comment on this point is that
keep the freedom of speech going on my show. I don't give a damn.
I respect it. I like that. I think this is a team competition, the only one really that matters. President's Cup is what it is, right? I think the Solheim Cup is also phenomenal and great. But I would say that it's still an individual competition, Yep. In and of itself, it's like a baseball game in that way. You still have the pitcher against the batter. Outfielders don't throw pitches. Nobody in the dugout hits. It's that one-on-one battle that I think makes baseball compelling. And I think that in this case, it still comes down to that. And in the team room, after this event's over, whether they win or lose, who would you rather hang out with?
Oh, well, that's an easy question.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's almost every time.
I know,
right?
I know, and I do think that matters because those guys across the board, to me, are they've just got a better spirit when it comes to this competition.
Absolutely.
Win or lose, I think they've got a better spirit. I think they care more about it. And I still think that that's really important to a man across the board, each one of them. I would much rather hang out with them, win or lose, than I would the U.S. team. So I think with that said, I'm it's hard for me not to root for that. because
Exactly.
I like a lot of those guys.
Yeah, exactly. My problem is I don't drink, so I don't know how the hell I would hang out with those guys.
Somebody's got to drive, Ted.
Well, that's true.
You'd be the designated driver. That's right. You're the designated driver.
That is beautiful.
Exactly.
By the way, we got the future places here where we're going to be playing at. Just a quick thought on that at all?
Oh, can you imagine Rory at Adair Manor? That'll be great.
That's great. And I know, Larry, you are so excited about the prospect of playing a Ryder Cup at the incredibly unique and just incredibly designed Hazeltine National.
I knew you were going to say that.
It's a wonderful facility and just a true gem of American golf links.
All right, what do you hate about it, Larry? Real quick.
Well, look, it's come a long way since the 1970 U.S. Open and Dave Hill getting fined for saying, they ruined a good farm and all they need is a couple of cows and 80 acres. But I mean, it's better than it was. But it's not in my top 10. There you go. There you go.
Olympic Club should be a lot of fun, by the way. It's a great, great golf course and an unbelievably challenging layout. And man, what they can do to some of those holes with moving tees around and stuff, that should be a blast.
Yeah.
That should be a blast.
Yeah. I agree.
I just wish, I wish it was a little closer to home, but I don't know if there's any courses in Southern California that would suit the Ryder Cup.
Yeah, Riv could do it.
Yeah, Riv. I think LA would be a good setup because it's not a great U.S. Open venue. So,
I
think LA would be a better Ryder Cup venue because you could mess around with some of the tees.
That is true because right. Some of it's funny, the way 1 is, the way 7 is. You make it kind of a short 4 or a long 3. You could have a lot of fun with the tees there. That's true.
I agree.
All right, guys, great show. Really looking forward to it this Friday through Sunday. Let's go at it, and hopefully we'll be allowed to have more free speech by next Monday and actually talk about the results.
That'd be
fantastic. Nice. We'll look forward to it. Thank you.
Wonderful job, boys. And let's do it again sometime. Anytime,
Absolutely.
Please.
Absolutely.
All right. That's Larry Brady. I'm Ted. At least I used to be. Enjoy the Ryder Cup, everybody. We'll talk to you, everybody, soon. Got a football show coming up on Thursday, as always. The NFL Inside Blitz.